Good morning, brothers and sisters. I bless you today with peace, purpose, and clarity. Let me ask you a question that might strike a nerve. Be waking up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. even when your body is tired and your alarm hasn't gone off. Have you ever wondered if there's more to it than just a restless night? Could it be that heaven is trying to get your attention? You see, most people dismiss those early wake-ups as random or meaningless. They get up, check their phones, scroll through social media, go right back to sleep. But what if I told you that those hours carry a divine invitation? What if that silent moment, while the world is still asleep, is actually the time God chooses to whisper your next breakthrough, give you a warning, or pour out strength for the battles ahead? You're not waking up by accident. You're being summoned. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what you need to do when you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. I'll share 8 powerful principles that will shift how you see those early hours and how to turn them into the most productive and spiritually charged moments of your day. So don't ignore it anymore. Don't sleep through your calling. Stay with me. Watch this video to the end because it might just change your mornings and your life forever. And if this message blesses you, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this with someone who keeps waking up at that same hour. It's not random. It's a divine signal. Stay with me. Watch this video to the end because it might just change your mornings and your life forever. And if this message blesses you, make sure to subscribe, like, and share this with someone who keeps waking up at that same hour. It's not random. It's a divine signal. Between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. lies a sacred window. In biblical times, this period was known as the fourth watch of the night, a time when heaven interacts closely with earth. During this watch, significant spiritual activity occurs. It's when angels are dispatched, prayers are answered, and divine instructions are downloaded. This time frame is not random. It's strategic. So Scripture consistently shows God moving in these hours. Abraham rose early to meet God in obedience. Jacob's transformation from deceiver to Israel happened just before dawn as he wrestled with a divine being. Moses climbed the mountain to receive revelation early in the morning. Jesus often withdrew during this watch to engage in deep communion with the Father. These weren't just habits, they were divine appointments. Biologically, the body is at its lowest metabolic point during these hours. The mind is clear, the soul is undistracted. This makes it easier for the spirit to perceive and respond. The atmosphere is still, making the whisper of God more distinct. It's not a coincidence that many revivals, awakenings, and breakthroughs have been preceded by early morning intercession. Many report waking at the same time, consistently. This is often God's way of initiating conversation. He doesn't shout, he calls. Those who respond experience clarity, healing, instruction, and peace. Waking up at this time is not a disturbance, it's an invitation. Your spirit is being summoned to participate in something heaven is orchestrating. Joaquin, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is not always natural. It's often supernatural. These moments can be divine interruptions meant to shift your focus, get your attention, or warn you of something spiritual. The human tendency is to dismiss it as coincidence or discomfort, but the wise understand that God speaks through patterns. In 1 Samuel 3, the boy Samuel hears his name called in the night. He doesn't recognize the voice immediately. It takes 3 attempts before Eli discerns that it's God calling. Many believers are like Samuel, hearing the call but not recognizing the voice. Waking repeatedly at this hour is often not about sleep, it's about purpose. These interruptions are divine invitations into God's presence. When your schedule is paused by a nudge from heaven, it's an opportunity to align with what God is revealing. You might be stirred awake to intercede for someone, receive guidance, or break spiritual resistance over your life or family. Silence during this hour is pregnant with revelation. One man testified that after months of waking at 4:17 a.m., he prayed and was led to Psalm 41:7, which gave him insight into the betrayal happening in his business. That single verse protected his company from collapse. Recognizing the interruption saved his destiny. Not all wake-ups are attacks. Some are alerts. Learn to discern. The Spirit often speaks in patterns. He will stir your spirit when something eternal is on the line. If you keep ignoring the call, you may miss divine timing. But if you respond, heaven responds back. The early morning hours are a battlefield of spiritual activity. While the world sleeps, realms shift. This is the most potent time to engage in intentional prayer. Casual praying will not suffice here. The Spirit of God is calling you to partner with Him in focused, targeted intercession. When you wake up during this window, you are being summoned to stand in the gap. Ezekiel 22:30 says, God searched for someone to stand in the gap and found none. This hour is your opportunity to say, here I am. Pray with clarity and precision over your family, your mind, your finances, your city. The atmosphere is sensitive and your words carry weight. The enemy operates in darkness. Your prayers become the disruption that halts demonic assignment. Intercession at this time is not just for you, it's also for others. Many destinies are preserved in the early morning through someone's willingness to pray. A woman once shared how she would wake at 3:30 a.m. daily to pray for her son who had left the faith. After months of prayer, he returned home one morning and said, I kept waking up at night feeling like someone was calling my name. Her prayers reached where her words couldn't. There's power in repetition. Consistent early prayer builds spiritual momentum. This isn't about emotion, it's about discipline. Prayer in this hour is a declaration that you will not be passive about your purpose or the well-being of those around you. Heaven leans in when a person chooses prayer over sleep. The kingdom is advanced, not just in the pulpit, but on the knees of early risers who refuse to ignore God's prompting. God often reveals instructions when distractions are silent. Between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., the noise of the day has faded and your heart is most tender. Instructions come in whispers. This is when the Spirit begins to release strategies, warnings, and blueprints. If you are building a business, leading a family, launching a ministry, or seeking direction, this is your hour to listen. Proverbs 8:17 declares, Those who seek me early shall find me. Seeking is not just about searching. It's about waiting with attention. When God speaks, He doesn't waste words. His instructions can unlock years of confusion. A man once testified that during one of these early wake-ups, God gave him a name in a dream. That name led him to the exact investor he needed to fund his nonprofit, which now feeds hundreds weekly. God gives information others labor years for in moments of stillness. But many miss these moments because they return to sleep instead of responding to the call. Instructions may come through dreams, impressions, or scriptures. Write them down. Obedience begins with recording what you receive. These revelations are not suggestions. They are steps toward destiny. Your assignment on earth is too significant to live by trial and error. Divine instructions protect you from wasted effort. Every major biblical figure received instructions during solitary moments. Noah, Joseph, Paul, and even Christ. These hours are not for busyness. They are for receiving details that change outcomes. If you wake up at this hour, sit still. Ask, Lord, what are you saying? And listen with the pen ready. Patterns don't break by silence. They break by intentional confrontation. Many families live under cycles of poverty, addiction, divorce, or spiritual stagnation because no one stood up to confront them. Between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., you are in a prime position to speak against these cycles. Declarations made during this time are not just words. They are spiritual, legal documents issued into the atmosphere. Scripture says in Job 22:28, "You shall decree a thing, and it shall be established." These decrees carry more weight when spoken from a place of alignment and sensitivity. At this hour, speak life, favor, and restoration. Renounce curses spoken over your bloodline. Call forth healing, order, and breakthrough. A young man began declaring every morning that the spirit of failure would no longer rule his family. Over time, he watched as his siblings began getting jobs, finishing school, and restoring relationships. The patterns didn't break by accident. They responded to consistent prophetic speech. Words are weapons. If you don't speak against what has plagued your family, it will keep speaking into your future. Worship is not an emotional filler. It is a spiritual cleanser. When you wake, between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., begin your time with worship. Music not only shifts your atmosphere, it purifies your soul. It clears out anxiety, bitterness, resentment, and fear. Gratitude rewires your focus from what's missing to what God is doing. David said in Psalm 119:62, "At midnight I rise to give you thanks." This was not just poetic, it was powerful. Gratitude invites peace. It silences complaints. Many carry toxic emotions into their day simply because they never paused to worship and give thanks. One woman battling depression began waking early and singing worship songs quietly. She didn't feel anything at first, but over days, her soul began to lighten. The spiritual fog lifted. Her healing didn't begin with medication. It began with a song in the dark. Revelation fades without documentation. When you are awakened between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., spiritual downloads often come quickly through dreams, impressions, visions, or whispered thoughts. What you fail to record, you risk forgetting. God speaks in fragments, and each piece matters. Keeping a journal or notepad beside your bed, it's not just a habit, it's a spiritual discipline. Habakkuk 2:2 says, "Write the vision and make it plain." The instruction was not casual, it was a command. Some of the most profound ideas, inventions, and movements were born in quiet moments, when someone had the presence of mind to write. A business owner once woke with a single phrase echoing in his spirit, "Shift the model." He wrote it down and reflected later. That simple phrase led him to restructure his company and double his revenue. Your dreams may seem random, but often carry spiritual symbols. That repeated number, that unfamiliar name, that location you've never been to. These aren't always leftovers from the day. They may be messages coded in mystery. Interpretation begins with attention. Writing signals that you value what was shown. Every recorded word becomes a seed for the future. What you write today may be the confirmation you need a year from now. Journaling is an act of faith. It says, "God, I believe you're speaking and I don't want to miss it." Some of your greatest breakthroughs will begin with a single sentence written in the dark. Don't trust your memory when destiny is involved. Write it down. Prayer after problems is survival. Prayer before problems is strategy. Between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., you have an opportunity to go ahead of your day spiritually. Most people walk into their day unprepared, hoping for the best. But those who pray early are not reacting, they are setting the tone. They engage the spirit before facing the natural. Psalm 5:3 says, "In the morning, O Lord, you hear my voice. In the morning I lay my requests before you and wait in expectation." This verse reveals divine order. Speak first, then move. Cover your meetings, your children, your finances, your interactions. Bind confusion, cancel accidents, silence lies before they are ever spoken. A woman who consistently prayed at 4 a.m. shared how she once felt led to pray against delay. That day, her husband missed a flight that ended up having mechanical failure. Her intercession wasn't random. It was prophetic. Early prayer allowed her to cover territory the enemy hoped to exploit. Prayer at this hour also builds spiritual confidence. You walk differently when you know the ground has already been covered. Decisions become clearer. Emotions are steadier. You are not entering blindly. You're entering backed by heaven. The day responds differently to someone who took command before sunrise. Brothers and sisters, what you do between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. is not just about how you start your day. It's about how you shape your destiny. You have heard the truth today. You now know that those early hours are not ordinary. They're sacred. They are windows into the supernatural, invitations from heaven, moments where God calls you to step into spiritual authority, receive divine instructions, break generational patterns, and declare what must live and what must die in your life. These aren't just good ideas. They're spiritual strategies. The question is, what will you do the next time your eyes open in the darkness and the world around you is still asleep? Will you roll over and miss the moment? Or will you rise up and respond to the call? Every great move of God in your life will require response. The early morning is where warriors are trained, leaders are sharpened, and battles are won in silence. It's not the noise that brings power. It's the obedience in quiet places. So the next time you wake up between 3 a.m. and 5 a.m., remember, you're not being disturbed. You're being chosen. If this message stirred something in you, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe to this channel because there is more coming that will build your faith, sharpen your vision, and strengthen your purpose. Like this video so it reaches more people just like you. And share it with someone who's been waking up wondering. Let them know it's not insomnia. It's a divine encounter waiting to happen. Stay faithful, stay aware, and always remember God doesn't waste time, especially not between 3 and 5 in the morning.